Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'd ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence. And Loretta, would you lead us in the pledge?
I will do so. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Chris, could you call the roll, please?
Sure. Commissioner Spillvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Buick?
Present.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here, we have a quorum. We always have two opportunities for public comment, one in just a few moments, and then one prior to adjournment. We welcome your comments. We ask that they be related to county government matters, and ask if you're able to try to limit your time to about 5 minutes out of respect for people's schedules. You're welcome to speak both times or one of the two times. If you're just here to observe, that's equally fine. Next item on the agenda would be row officer reports and comments. We always set aside time if any of our row officers are present. This morning, none of them are. So that does take us to public comments, and I'll open the floor. Nick, anything this morning so far?
No.
I will give you my packet when we're done.
Okay.
And you're welcome to keep it.
Okay.
Thank you, Nick. Under fiscal and contractual, our first action item today is a repository property located in New Beaver Borough. We, as I've noted in the past, have a process whereby if any property is located in the tax claim repository listing, people can come in and place a bid on those properties or property. The bid is then submitted to the three taxing bodies. In this case, the taxing bodies are the Borough of New Beaver, the Mohawk Area School District, and then the County of Lawrence. In this particular instance, the parcel is number 17-074800. It is located on Larchwood Drive in the Borough of New Beaver. The bidder is Mr. Ralph Gene Myers. He has submitted a bid of $500. The New Beaver Borough Council has accepted, and the Mohawk School District has accepted. So now the bid comes before us. Chris, do you happen to have a list in terms of what number this would be?
318.
318, thank you so much. Let me open it up for my colleagues to see what their wishes might be.
Move for its adoption.
I will second.
Thank you both, and see if either of you have any questions.
No.
No questions, thank you. And the motion's been made to approve this bid. Do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Next on the agenda, we have 4 warrant registers in our packet. These are the documents that are submitted to the commissioners periodically by the county controller's office, which they provide us with a listing of all of the bills that have been paid. In this instance, they are dated August 16, August 18, 22, and 23. Give my colleagues whatever time they might need to look them over, and whenever you're ready, I can take a motion to accept these documents.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. A little faster than I expected.
I came in early to review them, Mr. Chairman.
I kind of figured.
I guess you did.
Commissioner Spillvogel saw me in here be doing my due diligence before the meeting.
Thank
I lost an hour of the day somewhere. You were already sitting in here. I got nervous.
Well, thank you both. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or concerns on the warrant register?
No.
Okay, we'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Also in our packet are the minutes of the August 22 commissioners meeting. And again, give you folks the time that you might need to look them over. And whenever you're ready, I could take a motion to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I thank you both. Do either of you have any concerns regarding the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't present at the meeting, but I watched you guys on our YouTube channel, and just keep an eye on what you're up to in my absence.
How'd we do?
And you did good. And the
minutes.
minutes look good, except for I did catch one small error at the end under the announcements at the end, and I pointed this out to Chris to correct before it goes to the minute book. The date is incorrect on the announcements. It says the next commissioners meeting will be May 2nd. It should be August 29th. And the opioid advisory board, the next meeting is September 5th. But other than those two minor date corrections, which Chris will make, the minutes look good to me.
You're in accord with those corrections?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it from both of you. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the minutes with the appropriate adjustments that have been brought forward.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, just one more comment if I might.
Sure.
Two of the last three meetings went well over an hour and a half, and I couldn't figure out where the problem was. And last week's meeting I missed, and I figured out where the problem is. I am the problem with these meetings.
And that's the
I like-
first step, acknowledge
the problem.
problem.
I like to talk, and see, I wasn't there, and I saved you guys over a half an hour. So I just want to apologize for delaying the meetings and always making extra comments. Thank you.
Well, let's talk you though. Just kidding.
All right. We'll see how we do today.
That's it.
Okay,
my goodness.
motion to adopt the minutes as adjusted and
Oh.
corrected. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Under written communications, we've received one document over the course of the last week. This is from Frank B. Taylor Engineering, and they are providing us with a letter on behalf of Elwood Specialty Steel. This is their the company's 2023 building addition at their facility located at 499 Honeybee Lane in Wilmington Township. And the project involves a storm drain pipe crossing involving 29 linear feet of wetlands for GP5 and an access drive over wetlands impacting 0.025 acres of wetlands. This is actually, they're letting us know that they are applying to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection to obtain general permits BWEW-GP5 and GP7. And it is signed by Randy Kunstman, the engineer for Taylor Engineering. Any questions from either of my colleagues?
I move to accept and file.
I will second.
Thank you both. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Commissioner reports and comments. Today I get to go first, followed by Mr. Burek, followed by Commissioner Spielvogel. I do want to note that, in fact, we have an upcoming resolution here shortly, which might be utilizing some expenditures, potential expenditures of some of our American Rescue Plan funds, ARPA money, which is money that came in from the federal government approximately a year or so ago. I do want to note for the record that a lot of the dollars that we have received have gone out into the community already for various projects around the county. But my colleagues and I also feel that it's only appropriate that some of these dollars be used for necessary enhancements and improvements within county government structure. And I will note that based on information we've all received from the State County Commissioners Association, that most counties are dividing their ARPA money between external community projects and internal projects. That being said, this week there will be a legal ad requesting bids for the sealing of, that's SEALING, sealing of our parking lots, both here on the main campus, at the Elmira building on East Washington Street, and at the Public Safety Building in Hickory Township. We're looking for bids for the sealing of the lots and then the painting of the line striping so that people know where to park. And my recollection is that the bids will be opened, I believe, on the 12th of September. And I'm basing that on my memory of the legal ad. So we are going to be utilizing some of the ARPA money for that purpose. I'm going to defer to Commissioner Burek because we've all talked about, but I know he wants to have some discussion on another internal project. I think you know what I'm referencing up above us.
I was going to mention that.
Well, I figured you were, and that's why I'm going to finish with the sealing of the parking lots. The only other thing I'll note, and I don't want to steal the thunder of my two colleagues, so I'll just be very brief. And I know the Newcastle News wrote a very nice article about Taylor Township's 170th anniversary. Their commemoration and celebration took place on Saturday. Three of us were able to attend. It was tremendous, and credit needs to go to the committee down there that organized it. So that's all I'll say, because I suspect the two of my colleagues are going to want to talk about it as well. So those are my comments at this point in time. Let me turn it over to Commissioner Burek.
Thank you, Commissioner Vogler. Commissioner Spillvogel asked me to be brief, but I have 2 weeks worth of reports to give today, so bear with me.
Somebody order lunch.
I could talk at length on each one of these, but I just want to give a real quick rundown. Some of the meetings that I've attended in the last 2 weeks. Because again, people to this day still don't understand, and my colleagues would probably concur.
Absolutely.
People don't understand the role of the county commissioner. We have a great many responsibilities, and we're involved in a lot of things, and we're invited to a lot of great functions and meetings in the county. But I just want to give a real quick rundown of some of the things that I've done in the last 2 weeks. I went to the quarterly meeting of the Lawrence County Community Organizations Active in Disaster. That was a meeting that was held out at the Lawrence County Department of Public Safety. I'm sure my colleagues have gone to them in the past.
Yes.
But we have over 30 different nonprofit agencies here in Lawrence County that respond when there is a disaster. We know in the past year we've had train derailments both in the county and in a neighboring county in Ohio. We've had flooding, we've had different situations. There's so many good people and volunteers and organizations out there that step up when there's a need. And I don't want to leave any out, but everything from the American Red Cross, Catholic Charities, City Rescue Mission, the Arise Crisis Shelter in Lawrence County, several of the churches in the area, Salvation Army, United Way, even Visit Lawrence County. And at the last meeting, there were 12 different agencies there. And I just want to thank all of those people. These are all people that volunteer their time, and people in Lawrence County care about one another. When there's a disaster and people are in need, many organizations and people step up to help their neighbors in need. So just want to acknowledge those folks and the work they do, and thank our public safety staff for pulling those groups together every so many months to be prepared in the event of a disaster. Look at what Florida's facing this week, another major hurricane's hitting Florida. We're lucky we don't have normally hurricanes or earthquakes here, but all of us, we saw wildfires in Hawaii this year. Lawrence County does get occasionally flooding or other incidents that we need to help one another. And I'm so grateful to be part of a county that cares about one another. Next, I attended the Faces of COVID dinner held by the United Way in Lawrence County. They had multiple excellent speakers at the dinner. One of them was Commissioner Spillvogel. It was really jaw-dropping to hear. We heard from the head of our local hospital system. We heard from Commissioner Spillvogel detailing what the county commissioners had to deal with. I mean, everybody had to deal with many things in COVID. The commissioners had to deal with court orders from the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania to shut down the court system. They were dealing with guidance from the Centers for Disease Control, Department of Health. Anyway, she went through a whole timeline of what the commissioners had to deal with on a daily, weekly, monthly basis for a good year and a half. And I want to thank her and acknowledge her for giving a great talk that night. It was an emotional, evening. There were many family members of people that lost, you recall the number, how many Lawrence County residents did we lose due to COVID throughout the pandemic? It was over 100, was it not?
Oh, we lost over 500.
Over 500?
Oh, we lost a lot.
Hundreds and hundreds of
Yes,
Lawrence County residents
yes.
that we lost during the COVID
Yeah.
pandemic. And what was nice about that dinner, in addition to the speakers, they also recognized COVID heroes. Several local, many local people who stepped up during COVID to care for one another. I'm especially proud. One of them was my sister, Dr. Sheila Burek, was honored as well as a COVID hero. She treated many COVID patients. Days she treated 50, 100 COVID patients in one day in her capacity as a medical doctor. So I just wanted to acknowledge the United Way, all the speakers, and all the family members that were there mourning their loved ones, and thank all the heroes that stepped up during COVID to care for their neighbors. Third, I wanted to mention, I think Commissioner Vogler mentioned this last week, it's in the minutes. He and I toured the Camp Allegheny down in Wayne Township, run by the Salvation Army of Western Pennsylvania. Fabulous facility here in Lawrence County. I visited the Newcastle Transit Authority. I know Commissioner Spillvogel's on their board, but I went down, got a tour of the facilities. I met with David Richards, the executive director. He's done a great job as the director to leverage local money from the county, the city of Newcastle, and the townships to leverage state and federal dollars to support mass transit in Lawrence County. Many of our residents do rely on the transit service to get around Lawrence County, but also to get to Pittsburgh and other areas of Western Pennsylvania. And I think they do a very good job. I was very pleased to see they have I'm sure the other commissioners know this, they have a natural gas fueling station right down there at the Transit Authority with a federal grant. Most of our buses now run on clean compressed natural gas. In the old days, you rode behind a bus and you would see black smoke come out. Our buses today, almost all the fleet is run on clean natural gas, make almost no emissions, and they fuel them up every morning and they can run all day. And it's amazing. But anyway, I was very impressed with our local transit authority staff, and they do a good job. I had a meeting with our HR staff to review our HR policies, and I come back to my commissioners. There's some minor things that need updated and clarified in our HR policies. All three commissioners attended the Link Up Lawrence County Task Force meeting. We continue to work to expand broadband internet access here in Lawrence County for the parts of the county that are unserved or underserved. We had a meeting with the library's director and new finance manager about some issues. Everybody knows that the Lawrence County Federated Library System's anchor is the Newcastle Public Library. That building has now been transferred from the city of Newcastle to a new nonprofit called the Newcastle Public Library Incorporated, and we had a meeting with them. As Commissioner Vogler mentioned, the three of us went to Elwood City this past Friday. I'm a lifelong baseball fan, and anyone who's a baseball fan knows the name of Hack Wilson. He had one of the greatest seasons ever in Major League Baseball history in 1930. And one of his statistics from that season was 191 RBIs, runs batted in. In baseball, it's all about getting runs across the plate so your team has a better chance to win. He still holds the record for RBIs in a single season. And he was born and raised in Elwood City, PA. And the State Historic and Museum Commission dedicated a historic marker. It's right on Route 65. Right by the baseball and softball fields at Ewing Park's entrance. I was glad my fellow commissioners were there. They had folks from Major League Baseball, from the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Chicago Cubs, the State Historic and Museum Commission, the Elwood City Historical Society. I got to run into a lot of people I knew from years ago in Elwood City. It was a great day for Elwood City and a great day for Lawrence County to recognize someone from Lawrence County who still holds a Major League Baseball record. Amazing. Yesterday, Commissioner Spillvogel and I attended the Southwest Pennsylvania Commission meeting. I also attended the Taylor Township anniversary celebration with Commissioner Vogler and Commissioner Spillvogel, and I commend the committee, concur with your comments. They did a great job, and it was a great event in Lawrence County's history, 170 years as a township. Just one last thing. I'm glad Commissioner Vogler brought this up. One of my priorities between now and the end of my term is to use some of the ARPA dollars to fix up some of the building and grounds. I believe strongly that after the budget, one of the other big responsibilities the commissioner's responsible for is to maintain the building and grounds. You mentioned the sealing of the parking lots. The staff at the Elmira home up on East Washington Street, which we own, has reported over the past year or two, some of the trees on the property have been encroaching on the parking areas, and some of the big trees are getting older. A few of them are dead or dying. Some of the branches fall. So before we proceed with doing the parking lot, I had already gotten permission from you both. We've had, between our maintenance staff and myself, we've had 4 different tree companies come in and look at the trees that need removed on the property for the safety and security of the building and access to the parking lots and in and out of the building. We've gotten 2 quotes. Before next week's meeting, we should have the prices from the other 2. I'm going to request that we get the trees removed that are impinging on the parking areas before we proceed with the sealing of the parking lot. It only makes sense, and that's something I think we should do. And the other issue is, last week we had our maintenance staff and a contractor go up and look at the roof of this building. As you mentioned several times before, this building was built in 1979, so the roof on this building is around 43 years old. At the time, Frank Beccari, our longtime maintenance director, who was here when it was put on, he's been here over 50 years, he said he was told that roof should last around 25 to 30 years maximum. It's now over 40 years old. I personally went up on the roof and went up on a ladder and inspected the shingles, talked to the maintenance staff and the contractors. And I believe between now and the end of the year that we should proceed to get the bid specs drawn up and possibly go out to bid. And we always have the right to reject all bids. But I believe now that right now we have some funds available left from our ARPA funding that we should replace the roof on this building. And I think that's, and that'll be something then that future boards of commissioners shouldn't have to deal with for another 25 plus years. So just wanted to mention that that is one of my priorities, if we could address that this year when we do have some funding available. Sorry for the lengthy comments, but thank you for your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Loretta, real quick, and this is a scheduled matter. I talked to Brian about it earlier this morning. Our calendar had us listed at 1 o'clock, a meeting with Amy McKinney. And I talked to Amy, that's not with us. She just had it on there to reserve a room. So if you were thinking we were meeting with her, we're not. So it's one less thing we have to deal with today. So I wanted to clarify that. With that, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Again, Brian, thank you. We agitate each other and joke about those things, but the information that gets imparted under our comments I think is just as important as the actual scheduled part, the parts of our meeting that we have. It's people need to know and realize that, you know, we show up in our building and that's the 8 to 4 part of the job, but otherwise there are so many different things that go on and happen out in the community that, you know, we need to be out there and observing and participating in. And I always say over and over again, if there's someone that says there's nothing to do in Lawrence County, they're really not looking for something to do, because I was trying to think of just starting with Friday, Farm Bureau in the morning for us. And then we went to Elwood City for the Hack Wilson unveiling. Friday evening, there was a concert somewhere. And then Saturday, there were 2 different memorials that happened and went on, plus the Taylor Township, plus a concert, plus the farmers markets in 3 different areas. And then Sunday, then the car show that happened, the concert at the Shannon Township in the afternoon at Pearson Park. And that's just in the matter of 3 days. So considering everything that there is, you have to truly not want to be out there doing something to not find something to occupy yourself with, because there are a variety of different things, as well as the different meetings that we do have to attend, the different boards that we are on. You know, a lot of those meetings happen after hours. Are there ever any after hours? I mean, I know that there are times that we even attend municipal meetings with other townships or boroughs, and that's part of what we do. There are activities that come up weeknights that we attend. So thank you for bringing that to light for a lot of those different reasons. I certainly appreciate it. Yeah, we agitate, and this meeting, of course, will go longer than usual. But everything that you say is important, and people need to know that. I just, along with the roof thing, you know, I know that we've had somebody come up to take a look at it. And we even talked even about solar panels. You know, we're exploring every viable method of replacing that roof that we can, trying to really try to get the best possible bang for our buck, so to speak, in anything that we do, truly. So, yeah, thank you for reporting on everything. Thank you for looking into all of the things that you are looking into. Sometimes those are things that we've overlooked and not paid attention to, but you do it, and that's great, and that's good because it helps. It helps all the way around with everything. So, thank you.
Takes a team.
That's it. There you go.
Thank you both.
Mm-hmm.
Next on the agenda, we have proposed resolution 319. This was talked about at last week's meeting, involving a request that we have received from the Shannon Township Board of Supervisors. They are applying for a multimodal transportation fund grant. They are asking us to consider committing money towards this. As Commissioner Spielvogel noted last week, the area in question is actually in Union Township, and from what I understand, the Shannon Township has had conversations with the Union Township supervisors. The intersection is at US Route 422, and both Pulaski Road and the Harbor Edinburgh Road, where those roads all come together. There is currently a traffic light there, but it's an interestingly configured intersection, and coupled with the fact that in anticipation of potential growth at Millennium Park in the future that might necessitate or might bring about more traffic, that's why this intersection is being looked at. And what this resolution would do is would formalize a commitment that we would make as a board in earmarking $200,000 as a local match towards this project that Neshannock has applied for to the state. This resolution indicates that the money would come from the county's liquid fuel funds and/or American Rescue Plan funds. And we've worded it that way just in anticipation of seeing how this ultimately plays out and what fund would be more appropriate, or which of the two would be more appropriate, or both. Again, we did have some discussion about this last week, but let me turn it back over to Loretta. I've probably overlooked a few things, and maybe you can fill in the gaps.
No, I think you have everything here. It's just a commitment of a specific amount of money from the conversation that we had last week. I think if Neshannock is willing to take on, and it's an application, our letter went in with it, and it's getting reviewed through DCED. I think showing that commitment at the county level with the township, that it will bode well to help us get that approval. Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Burek.
I listened to the discussion you had last week, and I concur with both of your comments. That intersection in Union Township is a key intersection in Lawrence County for numerous reasons. Its proximity to Millennium Park. It's the pathway to get to 422 to go to Youngstown or back to downtown Newcastle. It leads out to the airport. It leads to the shopping areas of our county. So I believe that I use that intersection myself regularly. I believe, there needs to be improvements to that intersection. Probably, I think they'll probably include a left turn signal, because when you're making a left from Pulaski Road onto 422 to head towards Union or Newcastle, the angle of the Harbor Edinburgh Road comes in as such. I think it would be a safer intersection if it was reconfigured and a turning light was put in there. So I support this. I commend the Shannon Township for taking the lead.
Yes.
They got the cooperation of the Union Township supervisors. They've been working with the economic development. They've kept the county informed on this application. And I support a county taking on part of the local share along with the Shannon Township to make improvements to that intersection. So I'm glad this resolution's on the agenda.
Thank you both. We should note that the roads themselves are all state-maintained roads. But as many of you know, traffic signals are the maintenance of traffic signals. That responsibility does rest with the local municipality. But we're, as my colleagues both said, we're hopeful that this grant will be a successful one and that our commitment will assist in perhaps the ultimate awarding of it, which is what we're hoping for. Any other comments before I take a motion?
No, and I would gladly make that motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you both. This is proposed resolution 319. If there are no other questions or comments, I'll ask Chris to call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Björk?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks to my colleagues. Next on the agenda, we have 4 documents to consider today from our Mental Health and Developmental Services Office, and Mr. Scott Baldwin is with us. Scott, welcome. Hope you're having a good day so far. Would you like to walk us through these? And I'll ask in advance my 2 colleagues, assuming we're in accord, when we get through the 4 of them, if you wish to take them as a group, we can do so if that's your desire. But
Yes.
thank you both. Let's start with the first resolution, number 320, an agreement with Positive Steps Therapy. And I'll let you fill us in,
Yeah,
Scott.
sure. And they're located over in Butler. This is the last of my early intervention contracts. It came in just after I presented the last batch, so it came in and we figured we would just get that taken care of. But this is an early intervention provider. There is no budget as it's an entitled program. They do speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy for those little ones that need it. So.
Are there questions on this first proposal?
No.
Okay, thank you both. Number 321, the Lawrence County-based Human Services Center.
And these are all renewals.
Oh, I'm sorry.
320,
Which one?
not 321.
No,
No, we're on 321.
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, 319
We're
was
gonna
the-
vote on them collectively.
Gotcha.
You okay now?
Yep.
Okay, so we're talking about 321 Human Services Center.
And again, these are all renewals. This is our contract. Human Services functions as our base service unit, which means they perform all the county required mental health services, case management, outpatient clinics, crisis services. But this will be for fiscal year July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. This is all paid out of the Human Services block grant funding. And that amount will be $3,770,294. Again, it's a lot of money, but again, it is
A lot of services.
critical services.
Yes. Yes.
With all the different mental health services that we provide, Center has done it for over 50 years, so definitely a welcome partner for us. And we've asked them to do a lot lately. 3 staff to over 10 on up, but we've asked a lot and they've provided, so we're glad to partner with them.
I do want to note, and they are a well-established organization. They do great work in the community. Sometimes people misunderstand and they think that the folks that work there are county employees. They are not. They are a private nonprofit corporation. So the folks that work there are not directly paid by the county, nor do they report directly to the commissioner. So just want to make that part of the record. Let me see if Mr. Burek has any questions.
No.
No? Okay, Loretta? No? Okay, thank you both. The next proposed resolution is 322. It looks like we're making an adjustment to the vocational and psychological services contract. Am I right?
Well, I have their new contract for this fiscal year, and I have the amendment. So which would you?
Well, in our order,
The amendments first.
the amendment is
Okay.
first.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is amending the contract from fiscal year 22-23 for vocational psychological services. The original amount was $30,000. We had to increase that to $46,000. And most of that was a respite program that we fund. This is for parents who have really anyone who's in care. If they have to go to a doctor's appointment in Pittsburgh, and they have no one to support that family so they can leave, we pay for that. Or even just as simple as going to get groceries. Sometimes that is a challenge when you have, family members that have a disability. So we support them in that, and it's it's been busy, so they had to expand that, and of course, we added those dollars to cover that.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Baldwin, Brian, anything?
Just those respite services, those are provided in-home?
In-home, and it's not overnight, it's just during the day. Right. It's just to care for families, to give them a little bit of break.
No problem.
Thank you. So again, this proposed resolution relates to the contract of 2022 and 2023 through June 30th, 2023. The next proposed resolution, number 323, same organization, vocational and psychological services, and I believe here we're discussing the 23-24 contract.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so this would be a contract with Lawrence County, MHDS, Vocational Psychological Services here in Newcastle, July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. The contract total was $135,000 paid out of block grant funding. Vocational Psychological does testing for us on our intellectual disability side, IQ testing, but they also provide a variety of psychological tests, some of the forensic referrals. But they also provide that respite service, and also they're involved in our Project Search, which is a occupational program at UPMC and now Life Lawrence County. And these are both for adults and kids that are going into the work field, but we have a great partnership with both those organizations, so that we all help offset some of those costs. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Loretta, questions?
No.
Mr. Burek, any questions?
No, just one quick comment, that search program, back in the spring, Commissioner Vogler and I went to Lawrence County Career Technical Center. Remember that? And we sat with some students. There was a couple of students there that actually were graduating from that school and got jobs through that search program. So I'm a little bit familiar with that program. That's a good program. Wonderful. Yeah.
Well, we thank you, and if my colleagues are so willing, I would be glad to take a motion for us to consider resolutions 320 up through and including 323.
I so move.
Second.
Thank you both. Are there any final questions or concerns? We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Scott, as always,
Thank
thank
you,
you, sir.
Thanks.
Have a great day. Day to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Bye, Scott.
Next on our agenda, we have 4 proposals from Children and Youth Services.
Only
Mike-
4 this week.
He's winding down.
That's good.
Mike Grippo is with us, and Mike, it's always nice to have you here. The first proposal is number 324. Oh, and you handed out your document. It
Yeah.
always helps us. Thank
So
you.
on the way here, Lisa called me. Said she had a budget meeting.
That's okay.
So 3 of these are JPO, so.
Okay,
You're pinch hitting for her.
that's okay.
That's fine. Thank you. And number 324 would be Adelphoi Village,
These
based
are,
in Westmoreland.
yeah, these are all renewals.
Okay.
On Adelphi, last year we didn't have any, in 21-22, I should say. JPO had 3. Now they do group home in Foster. So 22-23, we've had 2 people in the group home and JPO has 7. And we currently have 3, but it's a renewal contract. Again, the rates is what JPO deal with what they deal with.
I'll see if Mr. Burek has any questions.
One quick question. The group home, is it actually in Latrobe or that's their office? Where's the group home?
There is a group home in Latrobe. And I don't know if they have other satellite areas.
My recollection at Adelphi is that it's all across Western.
Yeah.
Maybe all of Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
but I know Western Pennsylvania, they have various locations.
Yeah, they have several locations.
Any other questions? Loretta?
No.
No? We can move on then to number 325, which is, I hope I pronounced this right, Corisoft LLC of Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah, that, as through JPL, they do phones. It's a communication, they provide phones, tracking devices, ankle bracelets. And JPO uses that.
That's, you know, the minute he said phones, it all clicked, and I think with Loretta too. The folks from JPO have been here in the past to talk about this, and they've given us a great
Yes.
deal of detail about it. So
Yes.
I would suggest if you are curious about it, you know, somebody at JPO can fill you in. But do you have any other questions?
He answered it.
Okay,
I understand.
great. Loretta?
No.
Okay, thank you. Next is proposed resolution 326. This is the Summit School, Inc., based in Allegheny County.
Yes, and that's used by JPO. What I gather, it has to do with court reporting, but it's in-house counseling, in-home counseling program that JPO uses. It's an in-home program.
Loretta, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, Brian?
No.
Thank you. And then finally, number 327 is Pence Run Youth Services, Inc., based in Clearfield County.
Yes, last year, we added them for a backup, and we added them again for a backup. Currently, we've never placed anybody there yet. So it's just there for support in case we're in a bind, we need them. That's that.
Brian, question?
One, do you know what demographic they serve, male, female, what age group, or?
They're, first of all, they're not, and that matter of fact, she just said they got certified too, to upgrade it, but they do male and female, not severely bad kids. It's mostly general, you know, children, that don't have a lot of conditions. Since she told me they probably in November, they're gonna have another, they're gonna get certified in another area that might open it up to more troubled kids. But right now, I think JPO said, Pat was saying that maybe one time, a couple of years ago, they tried to place a kid. But right now, it's pretty moderate, you know, children.
Thanks. Just because we've had so many discussions about the different types of juvenile detention.
Yeah,
places.
no, it's not,
Right.
I don't think
It's
it's.
more of a group home for.
Yeah.
It's not for, not for kids that were, well, minor issues.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Loretta, any questions?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. Again, Mike, these documents are so helpful.
Excellent.
We appreciate your providing them to us. We have in front of us then proposed resolutions 324 up through and including 327 as submitted by Mr. Grippo. I could entertain a motion to consider all four.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Any final questions or concerns?
No.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask Chris to call the roll.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Mike, thank you, sir. Hope you have a nice holiday.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys, yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
The next proposal, number 328, is an administrative transfer that is being requested. And this pertains to District Judge Nicholson's office out in North Beaver Township. We're looking at a transfer of $3,874 from the commissioner's contingency into that of materials and supplies. There was some flooring in the office that was damaged, and there was obviously created a potential safety issue for potential people tripping or that sort of thing. So this is the request, number 328. I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
And questions, Brian?
Yeah, Joe, do we know how was the damage from water, or what caused the damage?
I think age of the building, the floorboard started to separate underneath the current, which was like hardwood or Pergo type flooring, and everything was separating. A part where there was a gap in between.
This is that old building down on 18 there.
Yes, that's correct.
The white building. Anything else?
It's not an insurance claim, just
No,
it needs fixed.
it needed
Okay.
fixed.
No other questions?
Loretta?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. I'll ask for a roll call.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And then we have two transfers to consider. The first is from District Judge Russo's office. They are asking for a $25 transfer from their travel and training line item into that of association dues. There was a small increase in the Judges Association dues. And then, if you don't mind, I'll move forward with the second one. The Commissioner's office is asking for a transfer of $2,270 from their contingency line item into that of materials and supplies. If you're so willing, we can do the two together if that's your desire. I'll open it up.
I'm fine with that, sure.
I'll move for the approval of both administrative transfers.
I will second.
Thank you both, and I'll see who might have questions. Loretta? No? Brian?
No.
No? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded for the two transfer requests. We'll do a roll call.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. We will move along to wrap up with announcements. The commissioners will meet 1 week from today, Tuesday, September 5 at 10 a.m. in this room. It's open to the public. Also, I'm assuming this is still on. Thank you. You're shaking your head. So yes, also a week from today, September 5 at 12 noon, the Lawrence County Opioid Advisory Committee will hold their public meeting in this room. Commissioner Spielvogel chairs that meeting, chairs that committee, excuse me. We'll note that the courthouse will be closed on Monday, September